Hey and namaste everyone. Happy New Year to you all. My name is Jacqueline Vanderpoy and I have a website called www.calloftheinnervoice.com. As it's a new year, I thought I would do a new video just to kind of ask a question, which I think is an important question at this time of the year. And the question is, what do you want to change in your life in 2023? I think New Year, when we have a new year, we always have new ideas about how we want our lives to be in the new year, don't we? And maybe some of us even make New Year's resolutions for the things that we want to change in our lives when the new year comes. But what I find with New Year's resolutions, certainly in my own case, is that whenever I've made a New Year's resolution, I've never kept to it. I've started it very, very strongly at the beginning of the year, but by kind of like a few months into the year, it's dropped. I've let it go. I've forgotten about it. And I think that's what tends to happen with New Year's resolutions. However, if you want to change something, if there's something in your life that you really want to change and you want to be different in the new year, then you have to have a strategy for that. You have to kind of make a plan for that change to happen. I think change is something that can happen easily in some situations, but for most of the situations it takes time, it takes energy, it takes continuous effort to actually get to that change that you're looking for. Okay? So if there's something that you want to change in 2023, how are you going to go about it? I mean, what are the steps that you need to take to bring about the change that you want in your life? Well, I think the first step that I would take is I would write down exactly what it is that I want to change. And when you write it down, it's not something that you're just going to write from the top of your head. Okay? You have to really think about it, contemplate about it, excuse me, and see what it is that that you want to change. Okay, so the thing that you want to change has to be something that you have no internal resistance to. If you have internal resistance to the thing that you want to change, or let's say if you have internal resistance to how you want your life to look like in the future, then it's going to be quite difficult for that change to happen. Okay, so what I mean by that is when you start to write things down, think about it. Think about what it is that's stopping you from making the change, right? So however long you've been trying to make this change in your life, think about why you haven't succeeded so far. What are the hindrances? What are the blockages? What are the things that are stopping you from actually taking the action to make the change? If you can come to that point of understanding about what the blockages are, it's going to be much, much easier for you to make the change and quicker as well. Okay, so if we think about what the potential blockages might be, I think we all have blocks. We all have blocks internally within us that stop us achieving the things that we want to achieve, that stop us living the lives that we want to live. And those blocks could be anything. It could be, something that you heard from your parents when you were very, very young. It could be something that you feel about yourself. You might feel that, this sort of life isn't the life for me. I can't make this particular change. I can't do this particular thing. And you've got that idea from somewhere. And normally it's somewhere in your past, somewhere in your childhood, I would suggest. Okay, some things you may have got as an adult as well. It's the repeated stories that you've heard throughout your life that are built up into blocks inside of you that make it difficult for you to change something in your life when you want to change it. So if you want to take the first step, write down what you want, write down how you want that change to be, how you want your life to look, for example, and write it with feeling. So not from just the top of your head, but with feeling from your heart, and then think about what it is that's blocking you from making that change. And then make a separate list of the things that you might believe are your blocks that are stopping you. It could be something like, for example, I'm too lazy, or it's going to be too much work, it's going to be too expensive, it's going to take too much time, these sort of things. Write down a list of what they might be as well. So once you've made a list of the things that are blocking you from making the change, you can start to work on those blockages one by one. And you can take your time to go through them. Make affirmations for each of the blocks that you have. Tell yourself, I can do this. Tell yourself, I'm the most energetic person in the world. Tell yourself positive statements that help you to keep moving forward in your life. Okay? So we can talk about the positive affirmations that we can make in another video. But for now, I want to just get back to the steps that we need to take. So the thing about making changes, which is step 2, is that the steps that you take have to be consistent. So you have to consistently keep taking steps towards your end goal, towards the change that you want to make. And generally, if you can take small steps, that's going to be much more helpful for you, because if you're trying to take big steps, you might find that you have hindrances against taking such a big step towards making whatever change you want to. So if you can make small steps, but you make those small steps consistently, regularly over a period of time, you'll find that as you're taking those steps, you don't even realise that change is happening. And when you look back after 5 months, 6 months, a year, whatever, you'll realise that your life is different, and that thing that you couldn't do before, or that you wanted to make the change about, has actually happened. So when you take small baby steps, that helps you to not think so much about the fact that you're making a change, but the fact that change is just, it's happening gradually without you having to completely obsess about it. So I'll give you an example of my own situation. For many, many, many years, I've been scared of deep water. I can swim. I learned to swim at school at quite a young age, but I never ever felt really comfortable in the water. So I've always had a fear of going into the deep end of the swimming pool, or swimming in the sea, or I couldn't stand at the bottom. Whenever I found I couldn't stand, I would literally go into panic. Okay, and this is quite difficult for me, because now I live in Sweden. There's water everywhere. Swimming is something that everybody does. Of course, in the summer there are so many lakes and rivers, and there's literally water everywhere. So not really swimming is really not part of the culture. And it's not just that it's not part of the culture, but for myself, I wanted myself to feel comfortable in water. I wanted to be able to jump in at the deep end. I wanted to be able to swim in the sea. I wanted to enjoy the water that I found all around me. And this has been something I've been trying for a very, very long time, many, many, many years. But the point is, I hadn't succeeded in getting over this fear, or getting over this discomfort in deep water. And it's something that I desperately wanted to change. Well, last year, 2022, I decided to make a change. And what I did was, the first thing that I did was I joined a swimming club, or a swimming school. And I started to just swim regularly with a group of people who also felt uncomfortable in deep water, which really helped to have some support. It made going to the swimming pool more fun. You have people to talk to compare notes with, to play around with in the water. That really, really helped me. But in fact, I had tried swimming school for adults. I had tried it twice before. And the reason I hadn't succeeded before was when I went to the swimming course, after the swimming course, I didn't continue swimming. I did my swimming course, which was maybe 10 weeks or something like that. I went once a week, did my swimming for an hour, and then I came home and that was it. I didn't continue swimming afterwards. But this time, last year, I decided that, okay, so there must be a secret. There must be a secret to being comfortable in the water. Because when I went to my swimming club once a week, sometimes if I missed a week, I missed a week, and so it was 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks between each swimming class. Then when I went back into the water, I felt uncomfortable again. I felt scared again. I felt scared to go into the deep end. And that made me realise that the reason for that is that I was having too long a gap between each of my sessions. And that was what kind of made me think, okay, so maybe what I need to be doing is after the swim school is I need to be swimming myself. Rather than just relying on going to swim school once a week, what I need to be doing is I need to be also going after swim school. I need to be going myself between each of the swim classes. So if it's once a week, I need to be going at least 2 or 3 times more before the next class. And that would start to help me to feel more at home in the water. So that's exactly what I did. I started going swimming not just once a week for the swim club, I started going in between lessons as well. And I started to feel and to see that my swimming was getting better for the first. And for the second thing is I was starting to feel more comfortable in the water. So by the time I got to the end of the swim school, I felt really quite comfortable. I could jump into the deep end. I could jump into the deep water pool, but that was very, very scary. That was very, very scary for me, but I could do it. And so what I decided was, okay, now that swim school is finished, I need to continue swimming. So rather than just going to swim school, thinking, okay, that's it, I've done my lessons, I thought, no, I'm going to start swimming after swim school as well. So I basically continued. I continued swimming 2 times or 3 times every week, and have continued for the last year. Well, now I can say that I really made a change. The change has happened. When I look back now, when we go on holidays, I can swim in the sea. I can snorkel by myself, totally happy, swimming in the water in the deep. I can't touch the bottom, and it doesn't feel dangerous for me anymore. I can jump in on the trampoline and into the water. I can dive in. I can go underwater, swim underwater. Now when I go swimming, I swim between 500 to maybe 700 meters every time. I think the most I've done now is 925 meters, and I think that was something like 37. I almost did 1,000 meters, and that was my aim. Didn't quite make it. Something like 37 lengths of the pool. When I go swimming now, people say to me, wow, you're such a good swimmer. Wow, you're such a good swimmer. This is like, what? This is not something I ever thought would be language that would be used for me concerning swimming, because it's been such a long time of fear of the water. And at the end of the day, what I realised is that change was actually quite simple. I had a lot of fear around it, but I did it slowly and consistently. I made the effort regularly, and I continued and I continued and I continued. And even now, I haven't stopped swimming. Now I find it important for me. Swimming is important for me. I have to go at least once a week. If I don't go once a week, I feel like, oh my God, I need to swim. I want to get into the water. This is like crazy. But, that was the key. Consistent effort, regular swimming, going as often as I possibly could. And that's the same with whatever change you want to make. If you want to make a change, you can't just, do one thing once and think that that's going to be enough. Because for most of us, change needs consistent effort. Okay, so what that means is that you have to continue doing whatever it is that you need to do. Keep taking small steps towards your end goal. And, you can keep checking in on yourself and seeing, okay, where am I? For example, if you want to lose weight, you have a target weight that you want to get to. You have to keep taking small steps check in after 3 months. Oh, I've lost 5 kilos. After 6 months, I've lost another 2 kilos. After a year, I've lost 8 kilos. But my goal is I want to use 20 kilos. You just keep going, you just keep going, you just keep going, taking small steps at a time. So that's the key. So actually there's really only like 2 or 3 steps. It's not so difficult. But I think the key, and what people find difficult, what most of us find difficult, is maintaining our practice towards that change that we want to make. So if you want to change anything in your life, just use this method of consistent effort, and I think that's the basis of changing something in your life, no matter how big, no matter how small. If you keep taking small steps towards your goal, you will get there in the end. Okay, so I think I'm going to end this video here. My name is Jacqueline van der Pooy. You can learn more about me on my website, www.calloftheinnervoice.com. I also have services. For example, I help people with relationships. I do one-to-one coaching. I also do connection with spirit. If you have a loved one that's passed away and you want to make a connection, I also do that. And I can read people's aura to help them take the next step in their lives. So I look forward to hearing from you, and you can also listen to this podcast and have the same title as this, Making a Change in 2023, as a podcast, which you can also listen to on my website or on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. So I thank you so much for listening. My name is Jacqueline van der Pooy once again. Thank you and namaste.